immunologist working on new vaccine technologies in San Francisco. Welcome to the program. We've just heard there about New York's new restrictions, and the Mayor Bill de Blasio, he's introducing them, of course, from Friday. He's also tweeted that this is our last chance to stop a second wave. What do you foresee happening in New York?
So, depending on how you analyze the data, this could be construed as the third wave. There's something different about this particular wave, and that is, unlike the initial wave that affected predominantly New York, then a second outbreak that we had in the southern states, this appears to be an increase in cases throughout almost every state in the United States. And that makes it challenging for New York, but also everywhere else. In the first wave, we had some of the advantage of resources that we could begin to direct to New York specifically, where now it's Minnesota, it's Iowa, it's everywhere in the United States that is going to receive impacted ICU facilities. So New York has gone through this once, so this is going to have an advantage for them. But what we're going to experience nationally is just a challenge of being able to provide distributed services for all of the people reaching the ICU. Now, keep in mind, we know this is coming because there's a 3-week lag between when you see new cases and when those people deteriorate enough to go into the hospital. So we've already seen 3 weeks now of accelerated cases, which means that wave of people reaching the hospitals is coming, and we just need to prepare for it.
And we have seen, Ron Klain, Biden's new chief of staff, and we know that this is such a big ticket issue for him, COVID. But given this limbo that you have right now in the US, could this slow, practical changes needed right now for COVID-19?
I mean, that's our real concern. In general, there's value in the political process, but we would like them to resolve it as quickly as possible, because any open distraction of political nature would distract people from focusing their efforts, which we hope would be more directed at the emerging crisis of the pandemic. So one way or another, we would like things resolved and a focus to return on ensuring that we are able to staunch the bleeding of this current outbreak and slow the additional cases. Right now, we are still on the up ramp of new cases. And until we turn the corner on the new cases, then we're going to continue on a 3-week lag on seeing additional cases of people who got sick enough that now they're being hospitalized. And that's the medical crisis which lays before us. And at this point, we know it's inevitable.
And Jacob, do you see a time frame, realistic one, when vaccines could be rolled out, given that you work closely with them?
Yeah, so that's where there's a lot of good news right now. The Pfizer timelines were pretty much as they predicted all year long. They've just released some really nice interim data from their phase 3 study, indicating that their vaccine has over 90% efficacy. They're talking about releasing, as they have predicted, millions of doses in December, something on the order of 50 million doses. And then in the United States, we're planning to have enough medicine for anyone who needs them potentially by March. The rest of the world, it depends a little bit on where you live, but there are billions of doses of their medicine being made. We just heard today that Moderna, who has a nearly identical vaccine to the one produced by Pfizer, also had positive results. And the way these vaccines work, it tells us that the other vaccines are likely also to be successful. This is great news. But the challenge now is to convince the world to take the medicine, either make sure that they can afford it, that they can have access to it, or for vaccine skeptics to try to convince them that the risk of a new vaccine is less than the risk of getting COVID-19.
Dr. Jacob Glanville, thank you so much for coming on the program. A pleasure to speak to you.